We're almost there. We're almost all the way through season 1. We finally made it. Good lord, that was a journey and a half, wasn't it? I do apologize that the recent WTF moments have been a little bit later in the day than some of you guys would have liked, or maybe a day behind or so. I'm just very, very warm at the moment. The UK is going through a heat wave and it's really affecting my concentration, which is bad at the best of times. And before any Americans jump on with, oh, but it's so much hotter here, 32 degrees Celsius, that's not a lot at all. I live in England, right? England, where the houses are designed to keep in heat as much as possible, because whilst we do have heat waves like clockwork every single year, those heat waves are normally about 2 weeks twice a year. The other 46 or 48 weeks a year, whatever, are completely mild to cold at best. So we don't get chance to acclimatize to the heat waves. The heat waves just come and we feel horrible and then they go like a bad day. So yeah, I'm boiling, I can't concentrate, but I'm still trying to get this content out as much as possible for you guys because I really, really want to bring it to you and because, you know, it's my favorite series on the channel. But yes, Pokemon, that's why we're here, aren't we? Oh god, I can't have the aircon on while I record this. This is a nightmare. We start the episode with a direct quote from the narrator. When both trainers found themselves with just one Pokemon each, Ash decided to take a chance on Charizard. I hate to break it to you, mate, but when Ash decided to send out Charizard, Richie still had Charmander and Pikachu left. So Richie had 2 Pokemon left, not 1. Didn't your mother ever teach you that Charmander plus Pikachu equals 2? At least they fixed their mistake from the previous episode, correctly displaying that Richie had 2 Pokemon left when Charizard was somewhat unfairly declared out of the battle.
Actually, Liam, I think you'll find it was fair for the referee to declare Richie's Pikachu the winner because Ash's Charizard refused to battle it.
And that's how you spot someone who didn't watch the last episode. But yeah, it's weird that they got the scoreboard right in this episode, but then the narrator still buggered the score up. After the recap, we cut to Ash and Friends' cabin in the Pokemon League village, where Ash is in his room moping about his loss to Richie. Oak asks if Ash has been lying in there since he lost the match, and Brock says yeah, and he's not even eating or anything. Guys, what the hell are you 4 doing? Your friend slash son is in there, devastated at his defeat, and you guys are all just leaving him to it, even though he's not even eating? Someone get in there and give the poor sod a hug. Rule number 1 of being a good friend or family member: if you recognize that your friend or family member is hurting, reach out to them. It's not hard. Not gonna lie, I reckon the walls of this cabin are paper thin. Look at Ash's face here. You can just tell he's heard everything they've been saying outside the room, with Brock saying he must feel like a total loser, and Misty saying he can't mope around forever. Poor Ash Ketchum has garbage friends. Confirmed. After a couple of failed attempts to console Ash, Misty completely pulls a 180 and starts yelling at him and calling him a big baby. And all I can think of is this quote.
With your looks, maybe bitchy's not the way to go.
I'd like to thank the creators of Archer as well for having Lana wearing just panties and a pair of stickers to cover her nipples in this scene so that I had to then censor it for YouTube. Cheers. Misty says with the way he was training, Ash was lucky he even made it through the first round. I mean, you were traveling with him and you're a gym leader too. What I'm saying is you could have been a little more helpful to Ash during his training. You know, instead of just arguing with him all the time and letting him get distracted every other episode. Here is a snippet of Ash and Misty's argument.
When are you gonna get over yourself, Ash? Why don't you? Why don't I what?
Misty, come on now, pay attention. He was clearly telling you to get over yourself. No point arguing if you're not even going to listen. After Oak hits Ash with some hard facts about how he should have been better prepared and he should have trained his Charizard better, Misty says these things can be hard, especially for some lazy trainers. This then starts another argument with Ash accusing Misty of calling him lazy and Misty trying to make out that she never called anybody anything, and it just makes me wonder, are the 2 adults here ever gonna step in and break this up? Why are Oak and Delia just standing around like everything's cool? This is some awful bloody parenting right here. Thankfully, Pikachu's here to electrocute everybody in the room, even the ones who weren't part of the argument. Pikachu is a cunt. Pass it on. Ash overhears the Pokemon League announcer talking about Richie on the TV and suddenly remembers that his friend exists and is currently still in the tournament. Some friend Ash is. If Misty hadn't lured Ash out of the room with this argument, Ash would have just moped around in bed all day and missed his friend's quarter-final battle. Ash, mate, you're a knobhead. Now, if you're not a knobhead, make sure you hit the like button to show that you're enjoying WTF Moments. Let's go for the usual like goal of 6,000 likes. Let's see if we can achieve it ASAP. Bang on that like button, it really helps us out. And of course, share the video on social media and leave a comment down below. If you can't think what to put something generic like
Richie? More like you lost.
And of course, if you're new here, hello, thank you for giving the channel a chance. I really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode of WTF Moments and turn on all notifications because YouTube is shit at letting people know that new videos are out from their favourite creators. Not that I'm your favourite, but hey, there's time. Richie sat in the stadium's locker room talking to his Pokeballs, as you do. He talks about how they've gotten this far and says let's all do our best, but only mentions Happy, Zippo and Sparky. Apparently the other 3 Pokemon he doesn't give a toss about. Either that or he's so confident he doesn't think he'll need the other 3. Is that confident or arrogant? You'd think I'd know, wouldn't you? Brock reminds Richie that in this battle he can use up to 6 Pokemon and tells him to pick his best. I hate to break it to you, Brock, but he's clearly already picked them. And to be fair, moments before the battle is really way too late to be giving that kind of advice. Direct quote from Ash.
Richie, I know you'll win.
Ha! Wrong.
Shut up!
We get a brief montage of the early stages of Richie's battle, and apparently there's some debate about whether or not this Spearow or the Tentacool it's battling belong to Richie, but I really don't think it's that much of a head scratcher. This Spearow is shown before the Tentacool, much in the same way that Zippo the Charmander was shown before Rhydon, and Happy the Butterfree was shown before Venomoth. It's obvious that these scenes are showing Richie's Pokemon first, and then the opponent's Pokemon second, which means that the Spearow belongs to Richie and the Tentacool belongs to his opponent. Confirmed. I mean, not technically confirmed, but still confirmed as far as I'm concerned. I'm a poet and I didn't know it. Also, Tentacool using Bubble in Generation 1? Fuck out of here.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Tentacool could learn Bubble Beam in Generation 1 with TM11.
Yeah, sure, but in what universe is that Bubble Beam? Where's the beam? Richie's opponent, Assunta, is a hacker. Confirmed. Oh, don't be like this. Apparently, post-montage, Richie and Assunta are down to just 1 Pokemon each. We've only seen 3 Pokemon from each of them so far. Charmander, Butterfree and Spearow for Richie, Rhydon, Venomoth and Tentacool for Assunta. Let us see what other Pokemon they each had. We're missing 2 from each side. I know this is hard to believe, Pokemon writers, but the people that watch your show are very interested in seeing all kinds of different Pokemon when they watch your show. Crazy, I know. Assunta sends out Ivysaur as her last Pokemon. Mate, why do so many trainers in this world turn up to the league with unevolved Pokemon? We've seen Spearow, Ivysaur, Tentacool, Bellsprout, and don't even get me started on Ash's Pokemon. How do these people think that they're going to become the best trainer in the region if they haven't even trained their Pokemon that much? Also, I just realized this is the same situation as one of Ash's battles in a previous episode. Both trainers' penultimate Pokemon were knocked out before either of them sent out their final Pokemon. So I guess that means one of them beat the opposing Pokemon with a move that had recoil damage that was just enough to knock itself out as well. Or one of them used self-destruct or explosion, as so many of you rightly pointed out. See, I do read the comments, and some of them are fucking horrible. Deletes its engagement though. Yeah, can I have some nice comments, please? But getting back to self-destruct or explosion, if Richie had an Electrode and we didn't even get to see it battle, I'm gonna be pissed. I love Electrode. Look, I get that Richie's screwed because he has to face an Ivysaur with a Pikachu. And I get that Thunderbolt isn't very effective on the grass-type Ivysaur, but still, don't be acting like Ivysaur can just bat away electricity with its vines. I ain't believing that. The vines are part of its body, so if any part of its body gets touched by electricity, its entire body will get touched by electricity. Even if it's not a lot of damage, Ivysaur should still be taking damage here. It's not a ground type, it never has been, so it can't be immune to electric attacks. Mate, this Ivysaur means business though. Watching it really makes me want Ash's Bulbasaur to evolve. It goes full pelt from tackle attacks to vine whips to solar beam like it's child's play. This Ivysaur comes across as an absolute badass. Not like Ash's Bulbasaur that got punked out by a Bellsprout, and now Richie is out of the league. So now are Ash and Richie gonna show respect and watch Assunta's match in the semi-finals? No. Of course they're fucking not. They're gonna gallivant off and do their own thing, because who cares about respecting other trainers? Now that Ash and his mate are out of the league, nobody gives a toss anymore. Oh look, they added a hyphen to congratulations. That still doesn't make it
Not.
look shit, just sort your layout out, lads. Later on, Richie is standing by a lake and turns to Sparky and asks if it's feeling better. Wait, does that mean you haven't taken it to a Pokemon Center? Richie, you heartless bastard, it got solar beamed. Take him to a Pokemon Center to get instantly healed. Don't leave him to heal up the old-fashioned way. This next bit doesn't really feature much of anything apart from the 2 Pikachu playing, which admittedly is super cute. And Ash responding to everything that Richie says with just, which is arguably less cute. Team Rocket are in the nearby bushes planning to steal the 2 Pikachu and make a bunch of sports metaphors, and I think the joke is meant to be that they're mixing up like a whole different bunch of sports terms, like some baseball stuff with football, but I honestly have no idea if they're wrong or not. What can I say? I'm not a sporty person. I mean, look at me. You find more muscle in shells on the beach. Direct quote from Richie.
If I'd have known how tough the Pokemon League was gonna be, I'd have trained twice as hard as I did.
Mate, it's the Pokemon League. It's the toughest competition in the region, competed in by some of the toughest trainers in the region. How did you think going in with a Charmander, a Pikachu, and a Spearow was really going to work out? If you'd actually have trained twice as hard as you did, just think, you'd have walked in with probably a Charmeleon at least, a Raichu if you're smart, and a Fearow. How did you not realise this beforehand? Richie, mate, use your noodle. Or at least you should have used your noodle about 6 or so months ago. Holy grass, Pikachu! You get it? Because there's a hole in the grass? Yeah, it's a bad joke, but hey, talking about it justifies the thumbnail.
Clickbait. Clickbait. Don't like it? Well, you're going to have to deal with it. Boom.
Speaking of clickbait, have you tried the clickbait flavour of G Fuel yet? This is a beautiful combination of cherry and pomegranate, and I think it has a little bit of watermelon in it. It's absolutely lovely, beautiful, tart flavour. I really like this one, I'll be honest. Oh, that is very, very Moorish. Don't forget, you can use code ACE to save 10% off G Fuel on your entire G Fuel order right now at gfuel.com. And it supports the channel, and that's pretty banging. It helps this boy keep his lights on and his dogs fed, and that's really cool, isn't it? Don't forget though, G Fuel is for over 18s only, because children don't need caffeine, because good lord, you get right on my tits sometimes as it is. And because it contains caffeine, just remember to drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. Oh, that's the best bait I've had all day. Woo-hoo! Don't leave that in. I might leave that in. If I've left that in, I hate myself. Hey look, the Who's That Pokemon is Fearow. You know, Fearow, the Pokemon Richie could have had if he'd trained more. Man, the writers are really rubbing Richie's face in it, huh? Ash and Richie find themselves trapped in a hole in the ground, which they fell into when they ran to try and save Pikachu and Sparky from a hole they fell into. And Richie asks, how did this hole get here? And Ash says someone must have dug it. Okay, who had money on Ash Ketchum being the brains here? Because I sure as hell didn't. Want to hear some orgasmic alliteration from James? Those crazy contraptions can't create the kind of classic catastrophe one can cause by cleverly concealing a calamitous crater. Yes! Oh, I got through it! That took so many takes! Oh my word! I'm so proud of myself. But yes, getting to the more important point here. Oh, it's so good! I love alliteration. Oh, as if it wasn't fucking warm enough. Mate, could this be the most inventive pit trap ever? Team Rocket have built a multi-level pit trap. So when Ash and Richie first fell into it, they fell into an artificial floor halfway into the pit that Team Rocket had created. So then when they tried to climb out, they then fell, hit that floor, and that then broke, dropping them into the actual true bottom of the crater. Say what you want about Team Rocket, but they are on form today. James uses a fishing rod to lower a cage down into the Pikachu pit to capture the 2 Pikachu, and Jesse points out that that cage is Pika-proof. James goes on to explain that this cage absorbs and conserves electricity, and why the fuck do you not use this kind of technology all the time? Team Rocket, you're all numpties. I mean, obviously not today, but most days you are. Every day you forget to bring Pika-proof stuff, you're all numpties. Ash and Richie use Pidgeotto and Happy respectively to fly themselves out of the hole. Firstly, why didn't you do that the moment you got down there? Secondly, I guess this proves that when they did the Pokemon parachute thing a couple of episodes back, the extra weight added by Pikachu and Bulbasaur to Ash and Zippo and Sparky to Richie really were the reason why Pidgeotto and Happy couldn't stay in flight. Probably should have just put them back in their Pokeballs, like I said. Hindsight. It's always 2020. Ash sends out Bulbasaur and tells it to use Vine Whip to grab the cage, but James just swooshes the fishing rod to move the cage out of the way of the vines. Mate, this is the second episode in a row where Team Rocket have just no-sold Bulbasaur's Vine Whip. Either Team Rocket are getting smarter, or Bulbasaur's Vine Whip is just getting shittier. It's time to learn Power Whip, mate. That's what it is.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Power Whip won't be a thing until Generation 4, so Ash and Bulbasaur can't learn that right now.
Oh well, guess he'll just have to settle for being crap then. Maybe that's why Ash eventually relegates him to Oak's lab.
Conspiracy!
Jessie sends out James's wheezing and tells it to use Smog Attack. I can't remember a time where James has sent out Jessie's Pokemon without being permitted, so I guess Jessie having that little bit of extra control definitely confirms her role as the leader of this trio. To be fair, I could be forgetting though, so feel free to correct me down in the comments if I am wrong, because you know what, that helps the algorithm and that's cool. Mate, all this time they've been able to hide under Wheezing's Smog to avoid it? Curse that 70% accuracy. In that case, why don't they just do this every time? There's a lot of that going around today, isn't there? After Pidgeotto gusts away the smog, Ash turns to Richie and says,
"Better use Zippo."
when Happy, the Butterfree, is right there and ready to fight. You know, Happy, the Butterfree that has the unbeatable insta-KO sleep powder, is right there, and you think Richie needs to send out Zippo? Look at that face. That right there is a face that says,
"Guess I'll go fuck myself then."
Richie even says,
"Okay, Zippo, we need you."
implying that they don't need Happy. Mate, justice for Happy. Okay, anyone want to explain why Richie stands like this when he tells Zippo to use Flamethrower? Like, does this make the move more effective or something? It's not like it's a Z move, it's just T-posing on one leg. Like, how has Ash not turned to him and gone,
"Richie, what are you doing?"
I'm just saying, it doesn't even look cool, just looks dumb. So Bulbasaur Razor Leafs the cage away from Team Rocket, nice to see it being useful. The two Pikachu then charge up the cage's electricity storage thingamabob. Ash then has his Squirtle soak Team Rocket and then throws the electrically charged cage back to them. I'm pretty sure in a court of law that would at least be assault with a deadly weapon, if not attempted murder. That's not very protagonisty, is it? I'd just like to point out that in this scene right after Team Rocket have blasted off, all the Pokemon are still out except for Pidgeotto and Happy, who I can only assume are back in their Pokeballs. Wow, you can really tell who the least favorites are here, can't you? Hashtag justice for Happy and Pidgeotto. Brock tells Ash they're all gonna go and grab dinner and then go and check out the Pokemon League closing ceremonies, and Ash mentions that all the trainers that competed in the league get to march in the stadium and all get a cool badge each. But what this means is, when Ash and Richie were just loitering around by the lake before Team Rocket showed up, they were well aware that the semi-finals and the finals of the Pokemon League were taking place and just chose not to watch. I know I go on about this, but that's really unsportsmanlike. Sure, it's not as bad as Gary, who literally drove to a different postcode after being eliminated from the tournament, but not watching the other matches is still pretty knobbish behavior regardless. Wait, so how's Gary gonna get his Pokemon League closing ceremony badge if he's not at the closing ceremony? Oh look!
Here comes the boy.
Also, Tentacool walking on its two tentacles is a cursed image, and if you don't want to die within the next 7 days, I suggest you don't go back and watch this. Oh my, would you look at the time? It's Pokemon animators getting the Pokemon sizes wrong o'clock. So let's go down the line. Raticate, about 2'4", looks about right here, I suppose. Tentacool, 2 feet 11 inches, but somehow almost double the size of Raticate. Okay. Cloyster, 4 feet 11 inches tall, but somehow shorter than Tentacool. And even if we remove Tentacool's tentacles from this height equation, Cloyster is still only slightly taller than the body of Tentacool, even though it's supposed to be 2 feet taller. And Poliwhirl, who's supposed to be 3'3", which would make the trainer in the blue shorts about 9'9". Oh, Pokemon, you really don't give a toss, do you? Man, that badge is ugly. If it was just the gold Pokeball part, then maybe it would be okay, but the big-ass Golduck's foot looking thing puts me right off. Imagine actually wearing that. None of the trainers who receive one even put it on, so I know I'm not alone in thinking this either. We get to see the silhouettes of the top 3 trainers in the tournament, and wait, how do you get a top 3 in a bracket-based tournament? It might just be me being stupid, so feel free to educate me in the comments, but in a bracket-based tournament, surely 2 trainers would lose in the semi-finals but still be part of the top 4. And they'd have lost kind of equally because they both lost a semi-final battle. So how do you determine which of those 2 trainers that lost in the semi-finals gets to stand on the podium in 3rd place alongside the person that won the final and the person that lost the final, who are obviously numbers 1 and 2. Also, one of these people is clearly Assunta, who beat Richie, so it's nice to see she made it to the final. I mean, I'm assuming she's the one in 2nd place, so lost in the final. It's kind of hard to tell because the 2 side parts of the podium seem to be equal in one shot, but in this shot, she definitely looks higher up than the person on the left. But then again, she is very obviously taller than that person. But then from the looks of this shot, I do think she's still slightly higher up on the podium even then. I'm gonna say Assunta came 2nd. Well done, Assunta. You did good. Not good enough, but you did good. Also, Also, does that mean these trainers battled in the quarterfinals, like the round that Richie lost in, then had a bit of a rest, then battled in the semifinals, then had a bit of a rest, and then battled in the finals, each time doing 6-on-6 battles? Mate, I wish we could have seen all that. Instead, we got Team Rocket bloody digging holes. Speaking of which, Team Rocket dig a tunnel underneath the stadium and accidentally dig right underneath a massive firework, which drops into their tunnel. Mate, you're lucky this is anime, because IRL, that would not end well for you at all. I mean, I suppose getting blasted off a second time in one episode isn't really things going well, but you know what I mean. Wait, so the central flame just goes out? I thought Moltres was in there. Did Moltres die? Maybe it just quietly slinked away during the closing ceremony. That's smart. That's how you beat the traffic. After all, we've all seen fireworks before, so it's not like Moltres missed much. Fuck. Mate, I'm not ashamed to say that literally the moment the first guitar note of the opening theme started after Ash and Richie said goodbye, I started to get teary-eyed. Like, man, this was my childhood, and having watched it all back in full from start to finish all over again, well, the finish of this arc at least, it just really sent me way back to when life was so much simpler, and that always gets me just that little bit emotional. It's like the end of an era, especially when you realize that aside from the closing credits of this episode, this is one of the last times the Pokemon theme will be used. From here on out, it's Pokemon World.
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find the Pokemon World theme doesn't start for another 3 episodes yet.
And I think you'll find that if we go off the official US DVD release of the Pokemon series, which is what I'm doing, it should be Pokemon World from the next episode, because Palette Party Panic is the first episode of Season 2, at least by the episode order I'm going with. The versions of the next 3 episodes that are on like Cartoon Network, Warner Brothers Kids, Netflix, actually incorrectly use the Pokemon theme instead of Pokemon World for the episodes that should have Pokemon World as the intro. You're welcome. Feel free to argue about it in the comments though, because that kind of engagement really helps the channel. And since literally nothing of note happens after this montage of Ash's battles throughout the Pokemon League, that's it. Pokemon Season 1, done and dusted. So I really just want to say thank you to everyone that's been watching Pokemon WTF Moments. I didn't realize it was going to be as well received as it has been, and I honestly think it's the best thing I've ever made on my channel. But quickly, to answer the questions that I get asked the most though, yes, I am doing Season 2. Yes, I am doing all the seasons, every single one. And yes, I know how long that'll take. And yes, I am doing the movies. I already did one of them. I'm just waiting till about the rough time each movie is supposed to take place during the season it's associated with, like I did with the first movie. That's why there's also a separate playlist that is just the WTF moments for the movies, because that's where they're gonna go, as well as in the main WTF playlist. Anyway, long story short, WTF moments will continue for as long as you guys keep supporting it and allowing me to keep making it. So if you do enjoy WTF moments, just make sure you're hitting the like button on every single video. I don't just say it for fun, it really does massively make an impact on the channel. And of course, share the video every single time and comment on the video every single time. Use the generic phrase that I've given you to say during the episode if you can't think of anything. It's so important. Like, that's what will keep us alive and thriving. I hate having to mention it every single time. I know it's annoying. I know none of you like being told to do it, but statistically, the more a YouTuber actually mentions it, the more people actually remember to do those things. So that's why I do that call to action every episode. I wish I didn't have to, but I do, because I'm not a big YouTuber, and I'm probably never gonna be, so I have to actually give you guys those reminders, whereas big YouTubers, they'll get likes and comments and stuff no matter what. I don't have that privilege at this time, or probably ever, but whatever. But yes, thank you for joining me on this journey through Pokemon Season 1, and let's just hope the Orange Islands doesn't tank the series. Oh boy. Seriously though, I've got bills to pay, please. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon Season 1, Episode 80. Friends to the end. Let me know your favorites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to twitch.tv/AceTrainLiam for all of my live streams and use code ACE for money off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam and I'm bloody up. Thanks. Thanks? Keep on training. Thanks? What the fuck?